The following is the Legacy Africa Founders Journal. Originally written Friday, 6th of February, 2026, and Sunday, the 8th of February, 2026. At the time, I didn't know how the story would go, and this is what I wrote. Molo Ndim. Today I feel good, hopeful. License situation is getting resolved. Looks like I have a proper runway of training time ahead and an actionable business growth strategy. Things are looking up. I escaped briefly because I enjoy journaling outside the house, but I have pots on the stove, so I can't stay. I also have a meeting with Peterson tomorrow. We'll talk business, opportunity, hopefully more actionables, more income. Anyway, I'll try and explain better later. Future looks bright. Sunday. Molo Ndim. The continuation of Lost Journal. By end Feb, money should be refunded from the place we went to go get our license done, where the truck broke down, and etc. 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 That's not what I wrote, but okay. And it will be available for me to try again here in PE. We're not going to school for at least the first semester or trimester. We made genuine effort towards it not going that way, but perhaps this time is the opportunity we've been praying for. Time. Plenty of time for license, business, training. Business is looking up. We're working high leverage leads, trying to get speaking gigs, collab and local entrepreneurship events, incubators, hubs. We're making steady progress. I will omit the name. And Peterson, an opportunity to get into the print and branding business. Omitted name, owns Office Cube, which essentially does the same thing as the company that produces the Legacy Africa teas. An opportunity for vertical integration. Peterson will be my partner in this. There will be a lot of overhead, but if we pull it off and secure such a powerful position so early, owning manufacturing, and my partner being in logistics, could do so much for Legacy Africa, as well as myself personally, to keep the legacy capital focused purely on reinvestment and growth. Naturally, we have more gym time, which is good for physical, mental, and emotional regulation. The blessing is also the isolation and time freedom, so I can stay on the path and go deep with minimal distraction. Family and friendships are in maintenance. I'm in putting out fires mode right now. Staying away from women and alcohol. Anyway, I love you. Went a bit over the limit. Until next time. Where to start? so, so if you were here during the last one, you heard that it was bleak, man. Like the first words are "life is noisy," and we get into a lot of turmoil. We talk about external pressures, internal pressures. We being in a park holding back tears. It was a very interesting time. I contrast that with this, where the end of the first part is future looks bright. We're talking about vertical integration. We're talking about partnerships. We're talking about just hope, hopeful. In fact, is today I feel good, hopeful. Full stop. Man, um, just to get into it. So I'm not going to spoil what happens with the license. That I'm not going to spoil. Um, Proper runway of time, actionable business growth strategy, things looking up. Man, oh man, oh man. Okay, let me actually peer into the next one because I really don't want to spoil stuff for you guys. Okay, we are gonna get into that again. Okay, now the plot thickens. um, but I escaped briefly because I like journaling outside more than I do, or at the time I liked being outside of my usual environment so that I could just have that freedom to really think differently, and express myself in that way. The actionable business growth strategy was super interesting. The meeting with Peterson, the reason why Peterson's name is mentioned, and I have no problem mentioning this because we're still obviously on good terms today. And yeah, really, really good dude. I'm glad I met the guy. I'm glad that this happened. I think the main reason for this happening was so that I could make that fantastic friend. To be completely honest with you, but like I don't use the term friend loosely, and Peterson's a friend of mine. Um, yeah, yeah, just full of hope at the time. So the money being refunded is an interesting one. I'm not sure if that comes back later as well. It does. I do. I remember distinctly. There's a hard line that I end up using when it comes to that. Here's the part where we're not going to school for at least the first semester or trimester. We've made genuine effort towards it not going that way, but perhaps it's an opportunity, is what I said at the time. And that was the hope, right? The hope is that everything happens for a reason. So the we made genuine effort part is I applied for everything you could apply for. Mind you, I did very well, very, very well. Leader, um, like number one in business, top two overall, passed with like, with like distinctions and everything. Ended up, the whole qualification with distinction. So it's the equivalent to a cum laude. Uh, Applied, had conversations with people, followed up with conversations with people who said, "Listen, I want to help you out." This that I really gave it a genuinely good swing at going back to formal education. Believe it or not, that was route one, right? Because it just buys me more time. That's literally all I have ever thought of formal education as, which was this is an opportunity to get my parents off my back for X amount of time while I focus on the business. While I try at least my best to see what could happen within the business. But I always know and understand that in order to do well in anything, um, you need minimal distractions, and one takes away from the other, right? If school's happening, it does detract from the business, especially when I don't believe that the thing that I'm studying is necessarily in line with exactly what I want to do. And so that's always something that peeved me is how general school is. Um, but you also understand that from you when you understand business from a product delivery perspective, you have to generalize so that you can have the largest total addressable market and still be able to deliver and satisfy each individual person. And you understand how complex it is, and how tricky it can get, and why they can't be very defined and niche down, and have niche down offerings for every single person who wants to do every single specific thing. Very interesting, when you are behind the curtains, or you pull behind the curtain and you get to see what's in there. And so essentially, really, really did give it a proper swing. Applied for bursaries, talked to potential sponsors, did everything that I could in that way, to try and get that to happen. Didn't happen, and man, God is so good, because sometimes the one thing you wanted to happen is the best thing that never happened because it got me here. And so I talk about the isolation. I talk about the blessing is also isolation and time freedom. So I can stay the path and go deep. So for me, isolation is I tend to be a product of my environment. So I'm someone who, when I'm by myself, this is what I do. I'm here by myself, recording. Um, After I'm done with this, I'll hit the gym. After I'm done with do you get what I'm trying to say? Like I'm like I'll hit the routine, man. I'm a creature of habit. I'm a creature of routine. I like to push towards my goals. I like to pursue my goals. I haven't drank in so long. Is it? Yeah, it was here, right? It was at the end of this where I said staying away from women and alcohol. Anyway, but that's who I am, right? I have a tendency to shift away from vices when I'm by myself. versus when I am in an environment with lots of people who aren't necessarily bad people, who are good people, who are genuine individuals who genuinely just want to spend time with me, just doing certain things. We tend to influence one another towards nonsense. I'm not saying they tend to influence me. No, sometimes I'm the primary. I'm the problem. I'm the primary person who's like, yo, let's go to the beach. No, but we don't have to, don't worry about money. Let's go to the beach. I'm the primary like shit starter, man. And I realized this when I realized that I have multiple friend groups that go out all the time. Here's the thing. I have multiple friend groups, and with each of the friend groups, we all go out occasionally. But the thing is, we're all friends with each other. So on this occasion I'm here, on that occasion I'm there, on that occasion I'm there, and then you look at the end of a calendar year and realize that wait, I was out every weekend. Or very very frequently weekdays were spent doing crazy stuff. And so stepping away from that, man, oh man, I'm so much more, like, I'm so much more focused. I breathe air cleaner. My physique is better than it's ever been. My business is better than it's like my life, my day to day, in terms of what I prefer to do with my time, right? I feel like I'm in a much better place. I'm so much happier, and none of that would have happened if the sponsors came through. Yo, I've made so many relationships. I'm right now in a spot where there's almost north of 20 people working for me. There's man, so much has happened, so many relationships, so much progress. Best shape of my life, man. Best shape of my life. um, Understand myself, have really truly stayed away from women, alcohol, pornography, just anything that would be adjacent or associated with vices. I've really really made myself proud in that. The quest to be the viceless man. You'll hear me mention, or you've heard me mention, if you're someone who's followed all throughout the journey, that the quest to be the viceless man has always been something that's been in my heart. I just haven't had the wherewithal to execute it. And I do think it was Naval, or in the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, it is said that the environment influences the brain, but the clever brain can choose its environment in order to be influenced in the direction that it wants to grow, that you want to grow as a person. Is you will use the brain to curate the environment so that it is easier to do the things that push you towards your goal, and you put friction between yourself and the actions that take you away from your goal. And so when you curate your environment in that way and make it as easy as possible to be productive, guess what will happen? You will be productive at the end of the day. And so for me, some of the best things that never happened, man. Some of the best things that never happened, truly, truly, truly. And then there are multiple of these things, and there's some fun stories that will come along. Um, but some of the things that I was really hopeful about there, and I thought would define me, have not at all. Have not at all. And it's absolutely incredible looking back at that. And it's good that they were there because they gave me the hope that I needed to keep going. And that's the ultimate thing. That's the biggest thing that I will always be grateful for, be grateful to the journey for, be grateful to these things for, is because they gave me the hope to keep going, until they gave me the thread to pull on, until I eventually am now on, still pulling the thread, right? But on a different level. Um, yeah, just on a completely different level, man. And continuing to unlock that progression is becoming really really incredible for me, man. How much things have shifted from, spoiler alert, where I thought the business was going to go, the direction I thought we were going to take, versus where we are now, and how much more in alignment I feel with where we're at now, and then the things that we're doing on a daily basis, and just continuing to build on who this guy wanted to be, and looking at me now as who I am, the kind of stuff I do, the kind of people I hang around with, my daily, my financial, my spiritual, my emotional, and how those things are much more in line with where this guy wanted to be. And this was a couple of months ago, you know. Um, it's crazy how much life can change when you believe it, when you take yourself seriously, you put your head down and you put everything else to the side. God is so good, man. Yeah, God is so good. God is so good. And so I'm also going to touch on, so right here is where you can end it. That has been entry 3 of the Founders Journal. I will catch you in entry 4. What I have made is a couple of notes, a couple of things that I may want to skim through, a couple of things I may want to reflect on, double down on. So the quality of each moment in time from here until the next 5 to 10 minutes will probably drop off. And at the end of it, I'm just gonna say, you know, found CEO, founder, Legacy Africa, Sage standing on business, signing up, and then that will be the end of the video, right? But from here till there, I'm just gonna skim through some of the stuff, see if it makes me think of anything that I believe you would find interesting. If I do find something that's a gem, I'll obviously like go back and forth with you. If I feel like none of this is completely useful, I'll just apologize for wasting your time and hope you don't hate me. So let's get into some of the stuff, man. And so basically, this is the combinational brainchild of myself and my very well oiled engine, kind of producing thoughts. Hmm. Let's see it, man. Initial reflection, hopeful. Hmm. The breakthrough you expect is really the breakthrough you get. That's so true, man. That's so true. Almost none of the things that I thought would define the next 6 months actually did. I thought the license was going to unlock everything. It didn't. I thought the business opportunity might become one of the biggest moves I'd make. It wasn't. I thought it wasn't even close. Oh, jeez. I thought it was a setback when I couldn't go to formal education. It turned out being one of the biggest blessings, because all that time went into legacy, man. The content, the systems, the team, everything I've built now is as a result of things not working out. Wow. Wow. Sometimes life closes one door because you're supposed to build a completely different door, make your own doors. Back then, I was looking for the opportunity, the partnership, the next conversation. And today, very important one. If you stuck around, you'll be happy. When you've taken every path, you've tried every way, you've taken every meeting, you've sat down, you've tried, you've listened to anyone that would speak that is ahead of you, and that it seems like the shining opportunity, this is the one, this is the one, this is the one, and you believed it's the one every single time. Do you know what you realize? There is no one. There is no one. It's only blood, sweat, tears, and your pain that are going to get you out of the place that you hate. But again, it's when you've taken every path, you've tried every way, you've made the deals, you've signed the contract, you've been there, you've done that. You realize in that moment, like, no, man, Dave Ramsey talked about this, and he's freaking in a different stratosphere, in a different galaxy, right? Different universe. But he mentions, if there's one thing that he reflects on and looks back on and thinks to himself, not necessarily that, I wish I didn't do that, but it's just something that he reflects on, that he thinks about, um, is he wishes that he knew, or something he wishes he knew earlier, was that no one's, not necessarily no one's coming to save you. It's like, yeah, that part's obvious, but it never stops. Like, there's no higher you're gonna make that's just gonna make you not to have to think about it anymore. That's just gonna make it go away, make the problem go. There's no contract, there's no hire, there's no deal, there's no, like, work begets work, my friend. Like, we live to build. We were created, and our creator created us to create, ultimately, you know? And so enjoy the process, like plug into the process and be part of it, and craft the process in a way where you enjoy the inputs, and then the outputs will just be like byproducts to you, because life itself is the input. And so, make sure that you love the inputs, man. So from a reflective perspective, we talk about me thinking that all those things would be the biggest things that I did. None of them were. No individual thing is gonna do it, bro. You just have to constantly keep stacking wins, keep pressing forward, keep doing the thing. Realize that, yeah, you find you have this thing taken care of. You build a team around this. Now there's a next department that needs building. Okay, you've built every department. Where's the company going? Have you refined the vision? When's the last time you took a look at what your vision and mission are, and how you're building towards them? Where you are on that chart? Are we still charting the right way? Do we have the right culture? Um, and then there are internal dynamics and conflicts, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's messy, but it's very, very beautiful. Um, it's messy, but it's Ronaldo at the same time. You know. So now, yeah, now the opportunity is not the business. The contract is not the business. The person is not the business. The hire is not the business. Like, the business is the business. The work itself is the ultimate thing that you're building, and the ultimate thing that that's building is you. And so that's what you need to keep working towards. It's a completely different big game, and I don't spend nearly as much time wondering what's the next opportunity, um, and I spend much more time thinking about who I need to become. You know, and so I didn't appreciate how important the season would become, because the isolation gave me focus, the focus gave me systems, systems gave me leverage, leverage gave me the team, and a lot of people try to escape lonely seasons. So looking back, the greatest progress I made was because I decided that I was going to lock myself in the room and work my ass off, like, realistically, and stay away from people who aren't on the same mission, who aren't doing the game, who aren't a part of this process, who aren't additive to this process, at whatever cost. I mean, it wasn't fun initially, missing out on certain things, not being invited to certain things, like just not having conversations with certain people that you thought they were about it. But then when you become about it for real, you start to realize the difference. um yeah, man. Yeah, saying no to tail. You ever said no to tail, bro? Like, numerous times. Listen, the first couple of times you feel cool, right? Because it's like, yeah, 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 nah, you can't get this, you can't get this, it's chill. And then you hit that rut. There's that period of time where you're just not like down horrendous, but it kind of hits you like, oh, so am I really not gonna am I genuinely not gonna, like, look at all this? Because the hilarious thing about it is that the more you get your validation internally, and the more you stop seeking validation from, like, the opposite gender or same gender, whatever you're into, bro, no judge. But the more you get your validation internally, or sometimes people still seek status and whatever. Not to say that I don't, but sometimes you still seek status from, obviously, like, what, physically, how much shape, how much weight am I lifting, how cool is my car, how cool are my clothes, how cool is my haircut, and all that good stuff. So it's not to say that we don't seek validation externally at all, or we don't seek these things to kind of have that signal of, oh, we're enticing more of these. Oh, it means we're heading in the right direction. But we need to still stay away from that, because the moment you re-engage is the moment you lose yourself. Is the moment you lose, because I made a short about this earlier, which is, women are enticed by men who don't seek female validation. This is, like, right. It's a hard left, but let me cook. Women seek men who aren't enticed by female validation, because they tend to be enticed by a different kind of validation that is leading indicators to having a great physique, being financially free, and being emotionally stable, having the habits that lead you to those things. The first step to moving away from that. For me personally, as someone who that was my vice, you know, they like women were my vice. Stepping away from that vice really allowed me to stay away from the other things that lead to kind of the life that gets you caught in that circle of hedonism for me, or that led me on that circle, and allowed me to focus more so on the things that are productive. And having these things does also make you more attractive, but also not seeking that makes the whole thing more enticing. You know, from that perspective, which is very ironic because the very people who want women the most are usually going to be chasing after them, and that's usually going to be the people that women don't want. Not because you're chasing after them, but because you chasing after them means you're not focused on this. Very, very funny, the way the world works in that way. But that season, man, this season, became absolutely incredible and integral for me. So today I have far more room for okay, okay, nah. So I wrote that family and relationships are in maintenance mode, and at the time I thought balance was everything having equal attention. I don't think that anymore. I think balance is seasonal, man. I think some seasons just demand you to just cut everything off, focus on you, and other seasons you're allowed to, or you will have just more, you'll have more to give. So it's like there's a season where you have to focus on pouring into you, and then your cup will overflow, and guess who benefits from your overflow? The people who are closest to you that you're trying to benefit to begin with. And so sometimes you have to make that sacrifice, and you know, see a couple of sad faces, have a couple of arguments, like have the difficult conversations in order to allow yourself to pour into yourself so that you can then be more useful to the people closest to you. um, the important thing is knowing that it's a season, not an identity. Today, I have far more time for relationships than I had back then. It's not that I magically found more hours, it's that I became the kind of person who has the time, the bandwidth. I have the team now. I know that certain things are taken care of, and I knew that that stuff was seasonal, and people just didn't understand. But the cool thing is, stop expecting them to understand because they're not you. They were not given your vision. Your vision was given to you for a reason because you know what to do with it. And so from my perspective, it became a thing of, oh, okay, wait, hold on. You literally don't understand the fact that I have to do this project during this weekend. I have to take weekends and work. I have to do this, that, and the third. You don't understand that because you've never had this season of ridiculous amounts of sacrifice. And that's why you don't have a season of ridiculous amounts of returns. You don't have what I want, and therefore your opinion on how I am getting what I want is invalid. And you have to kind of find it within yourself. It's tough, but you have to be almost ruthless at times. You have to be almost cutthroat at times, and you have to unlock what it is that you're having to be unlocking at the end of the day. um, so one thing that hasn't changed is staying away from unnecessary distractions, you know, staying away from women and alcohol. I'd expand on that and talk about um, anything that steals momentum, because momentum compounds, but distractions compound too. And a big thing about that compromising and the momentum compounding too is a big line I always think about is Jordan Peterson saying, "Don't practice who you don't want to become." I think about that every single day. I honestly, honest to God, I think about that every single day. Didn't write that down, but that's how on my conscious that is. Every single day I think to myself, whenever I catch myself doing something that I know I shouldn't be doing, or I know that the best version of me doesn't do, I always think to myself, why am I practicing something that I don't want to be in the future? Don't practice who you don't want to become. Don't pour into, give time to things that you don't want to have be a part of your life in the future. I'm not saying we don't laugh. I'm not saying we don't have casual conversations. Well, we don't. But for example, in the gym, man, I'll talk to people. I'm very nice to people. I'm very cordial. Like if anyone you know who's interacted with me, know that I will give you the time of day. I'll shake your hand. I'll know your name. I'll learn your name. I'm very, very, considerate about people, and and I think that's very important as well. But at the same time, when it comes to now the things that you're doing habitually over time, you don't want to be spending copious amounts of time pouring into things and people that you don't want to find yourself doing. Okay, I'll give you a very real example. The main reason, or easiest trigger that keeps me away from, corn and all those types of things, and looking at those types of things, accounts, whatever's on social media. I always think that, don't practice who you don't want to become. Okay, do you one day want to become the guy who is married but is chasing tail on the side? No. It's like, well, then why are you cheating now? And I believe that these things are gateway drugs, because the thing is, I know myself. I know that I'm the type of guy who's gonna go, okay, let me just look at this thing. Okay, let me just, what I'm saying, and then it starts and starts, and then next thing you know, you're like, ish, okay, cool. Like, I'm doing this thing and I'm celibate, but I'm still, like, doing this. So like, for me, that's some loser shit. That's the thing about me. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna go all the way. So I'm like, this is some loser stuff. Why am I watching this or looking at this? Because if I want a tail, I can just go get tail. So I'm gonna just do that. Instead, like, why? Like, do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm almost an extremist in that way. And so just don't practice it if you don't want it to be a part of your life. Period. And then the biggest lesson from the journal is, I thought the future would be determined by the opportunities, but it wasn't. It was determined by the capability that I built. Opportunities come and go, but the capabilities, who you are, is what stays. And I'm grateful that that version of me existed. He didn't know what would work, but he kept preparing anyway. And preparation is what allows opportunity to recognize you when it finally arrives. That's my biggest point of gratitude. My biggest point of gratitude is that guy kept going. He kept trying. He kept showing up. Flop did he fail. Flop did he flop and fall on his face many times. That he would have been embarrassed to say on camera, but I'm not, because that was a long time ago. Okay, we came up. But yeah, it was a very interesting time. And even now, man, I still put myself out there. I still stick my neck out there. I still take risks, get rejected, um, because that is what ultimately, me 6 months from now, will look back on and think, wow, that guy gave. That's what I want to be able to do at the end of the day, is to look back, reflect, and be able to say, I did it. I gave. Thank you for watching. It was a bit of a longer one today, but hopefully, you receive some value from it. Um, yeah, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I've been Sage, standing on business, signing off.